Alrighty, hello there, everyone. So I wanted to make an updated 2026 guide for new players in the first Descendant. And I wanted to do this. It's going to be a long video, but you don't need to watch the whole thing at once. What I'm going to try to do is to discuss topics in the order that you would encounter them in the game. So hopefully you should just be able to sort of watch part of it and then go do something and then maybe watch more of it. But there will be sort of like a first sort of like leveling portion, and then like once you've gotten through like the story portion. So the very first thing that you're going to probably be concerned about, like I said, I want to do this in the order that you will encounter things, is you probably just downloaded this game, just got it, or just started it in some capacity, and you're wondering, is it pay to win? Maybe you're looking at the reviews on Steam or something, and you're concerned. No, it is not pay to win. It is not pay to win in any sense. There was some stuff, I think, in the early part of the game when it released where there's like an item from Warframe that's like very cheap that you could buy in the Warframe shop, and it was expensive in this shop, and people were like, oh my gosh, this game's like pay to win or something. It's expensive in this shop, but no one's ever purchased one because you can farm like a billion of them in 10 seconds. So you just don't ever need to buy it. So it's a totally pointless surface level accusation. So that's probably the first thing that you're going to encounter, is you're just wondering, is the game pay to win? No. Okay, so the next thing will be, you have started up the game, and I believe that you're going to be met with a screen with a character to pick. So you're probably wondering, what character do I pick? And I think that there's going to be 3 characters that you're prompted with, and it's going to be these 3 right here. It's going to be Lepic, Ajax, and Viessa. The real answer is it does not matter which one you pick, because you will want all of them at some point due to another system that is implemented in the game. So pick whoever you think looks cool. This guy's like a tank. Every character's kind of capable of doing everything. So this guy's like a tank and uses like shields and barriers and stuff. This guy has some fire skills and bombs and stuff like that. And then Viessa does, cold spells and tornadoes and things. So pick whoever you think looks cool. And then shortly into the game, you'll receive, I don't want to say you'll receive, but you will, well, I think as part of the main story quest, you will get money. I don't actually think that one's avoidable. And then I think after that, you have the chance to unlock a couple of the characters that you see down here, like Freyna, Glay, Blair, I think some others. I forget the exact ones. So those will be able to be obtained pretty early on if you want to do that. So, but you'll want all of them eventually. If I had to make a recommendation, I would say pick Viessa. And the reason for that is because there is a content type once you have completed the story that you will want to do, and she's pretty good at that content type. However, well, there's reasons that it doesn't really matter too much. I would just say that she's my recommendation. She's pretty good at mobbing. She's pretty good at that content type. She's pretty fast at running, stuff like that. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So just pick who you think looks cool. Okay, so from that point, you are going to start in the first like cinematic mission thing. I would recommend just, I would recommend following the story. It's not the best story I've ever heard by any means, but it's good enough. And I'm invested in it. I want to see what happens next, but I wouldn't expect anything that has you on the edge of your seat, but it's good enough. So I'd recommend following it. You'll finish the first mission, and then you're going to get dropped. This is kind of why I'm loitering here. You're going to get dropped right here. And you're probably immediately going to get hit with like 30 pop-up screens and like a login reward. You will probably not be able to do a lot of the events that are not the login event as a new player, but there are some new player events that you will be able to do, and I will cover that in an event section. And I'm also going to make a video after the Dia patch that will discuss exactly what the event things are and how to do them, and which ones are going to be accessible at each like stage of your gameplay journey. So I'm not going to cover that right now. Just know that probably what you get assaulted with is just a bunch of stuff for people that regularly log into the game, and the devs don't know how to turn that off for a person that just started. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading my script here. There is the possibility that some of those events and things that are showing up will give you access to either weapons or descendants or materials that are sort of supposed to be used later in the game and not something that a person that just logged into the game should just get right away. And I will go over that sort of stuff. A lot of that stuff you're not going to need to worry about super early. I would just say if you're getting like weird items for things, it's probably not stuff you should use right away. There will be ways to min-max things if you want to, but just know that everything in this game is very easily farmable. It's pretty hard to like waste a resource because you can pretty much just always go and get more of it if you need to. There's nothing really time gated. Okay. So you've been dropped off in town. I believe that the story has you go over here into this area under, you know, this event sign or whatever that is. And then just talk to those people, continue the story. And then I believe it wants you to go to Kingston next. Just continue following that. I'm going to go head over to Kingston. I'm going to intentionally go there on hard mode. But we're going to discuss some of the mission types and drops and things like that that you can expect while you're just going through the game. Sorry for the loading screen. Also, I usually don't have hot mic turned on. I do have it today, so you might hear me cough or breathe or things like that into the mic. That's because I don't want to have to worry about my mic cutting out weirdly, because it sometimes does that for some reason with OBS when I have push to talk on. So I believe this is where it drops you for the first area in Kingston. So what I'm going to do really quick here is there's going to be a bunch of stuff on your map. It should tell you exactly where to go and sort of like highlight stuff. I believe it tells you to go over to here, I want to say, this little thingy here. And I think that's the first mission, but I could be wrong on that one. Don't quote me. It might be one of the ones over here. I'm not sure. Actually, it might be. It might be one of those ones over there. Regardless, doesn't matter. So there are a few different mission types here. The two that you need to care about, you can pretty much ignore everything else, are these things that look like a bookmark, this little icon here. I believe these are the campaign missions, and then there's campaign dungeons. So these, as you can see, are estimated 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and then this one's estimated to be 10 minutes. So you can see it's a little bit longer. It's meant to be a little bit more of a thing. So those are going to be the two main things that you're going to focus on. This thing, this icon, this thing, you don't need to worry about these yet. And in particular, these things that have like sort of like weird symbols. They're called void missions and void reactors, I think. So Void Fusion Reactor Kingston and Void Fragment. These are old content. You don't need to worry about them at all unless there's a specific reason in an event or something that they're sending you out to do one. But they are totally irrelevant nowadays. They're just a thing of the past. All right. So you've started the first mission, or I'm hoping this is the first mission. If it's not, just bear with me. Let me get rid of my dog because I want to show you something. Oh no. It won't let me get rid of the dog. Okay, 1 second, sorry. Okay. The dogs can pick up loot, so I don't want them picking up loot for me. I just want to go in here and show you some stuff. I'm going to run in, I'm going to kill some stuff, and I'm going to show you the drops and what they are. Intentionally, hopefully. Try not to pick things up intentionally. So I just want to show you what they... Oh, I picked one up. I picked up another one. Oh my gosh, man. Okay, there's a gun. And then, good. Is there another one somewhere here? Okay, there we go. Alright, I have all 3 target types. I'm just going to finish this because I think it's just going to spawn something on me. There we go. Alright, I have to be careful not to pick them up. So, oh, here you go. This is one of the things you might see out in the open world. Go ahead and just kick it. The stuff that comes from these is crafting materials. So don't think that you're ever going to get like a reactor or a weapon or something like that from those. It's just crafting materials. Those come from those things I just kicked, and then there's like boxes and stuff you can walk over. And it is worth doing that. You will need those materials for things, so go ahead and pick them up. So here are 3 different drops. You've got your gold, you've got Kuiper, which is used for upgrading modules. It's this thing right here in the middle. Gold you also need for that same thing and just other various tasks. And then you have reactors. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this reactor. And I want to talk about it after... Oh, so here's the other icon. This is an enhancement material that you'll use for crafting things. That's it. So this would be another one of those. And then, so you don't really need to inspect those or worry about them. And then over there we've got, well, actually here we go. This is a module. Oh, actually we've got all the types right here. So reactor, a weapon, and then a module. So the main thing with these drops, the weapons come in 3 rarities. There's blue, purple, and yellow. Yellow is the highest rarity. It is ultimate. While you are leveling, you do not need to worry too much about the weapon. Just equip and use whatever feels good. You can, so you can see I just picked up a few of these here. I don't know where I got that. But you'll notice it's not maximum levels. This one says 100 right there. This one says 42. You can take the weapon level of another weapon and put it on your current. Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't pick this up. It's because I just had it sitting in my inventory. You can take the weapon level of another one and put it on your current one. So if I wanted to, you don't have to worry about the type, you don't have to worry about the name or anything like that. It is just the level. That's the only thing that matters. I can take this level 100 one and turn this one into a level 100 one instead. That is possible to do while leveling, and it's very cheap to do. However, for weapons, just pick whatever you either like or have tried and is working for you. And if there's one that's really, really good, you can increase the level of it via what I just said. If you want to do that, but otherwise just, use whatever you pick up that has a high attack power and seems to be doing well for you in clearing the missions. There's going to be different things that show up on your weapons. So as you can see, there's nothing here besides the weapon. Here now there's these like numbers and things below it, and then this has even more stuff. For instance, you can see that there's like a whole bunch of stuff on this thing, right? You don't need to worry about any of that stuff yet. I would not worry about the stuff that's under this. I wouldn't worry about any of that stuff. You can pretty much just ignore it. It is possible to re-roll these things that you see under it. These are called weapon options. I just want you to know the word in case you hear the word options show up. It is usually this sort of text that you see under the fire right there. But it is unimportant while you are leveling to focus in on these. So just, let your eyes just glaze over them. They don't matter. Okay. So that's what the weapons are, and then I guess I'll discuss the reactors and the modules. So I'm going to go ahead and pick these 2 up, and we have picked up a reactor. The reactor is over here. So as you saw, I just went over to click this. It actually has it labeled. It's wonderful. Why are the reactors important? So you have to have one of these equipped, and they come in a lot of varieties of flavors, but I'm going to show you how to identify the ones that you're going to care about, because the one that you have equipped is going to depend on the character. So really quick for Bunny, I'm going to go over here to this Descendant Module button, and I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to get access to my 4 abilities here. These abilities have a type and a subtype. So if you look next to that big diamond looking 4 thing, see where it says electric and then fusion, and then this one says electric and then singular, those will correspond to a reactor type, and the reactor enables you to use abilities, and if the type and subtype align with your ability, then it will increase the damage of that ability. So as long as I have any reactor equipped, I can cast abilities. But what I really want to do is I want to use electric ones for me. And within those electric ones, I want to find ones that buff either fusion or singular, because I have fusion and singular types for all of my abilities. So as you can see, singular, fusion, right? This one doesn't do damage, so it wouldn't matter, but you know, that's for you to decide based on what character you've picked. So let me actually just show you really quick with this, because this will be, let's say that you picked Viessa. She's one of the ones that you will have access to early. So you can see that I have on a chill reactor. And so I don't actually have any other fusion ones, but I do have singular ones. They each have a shape. That shape is always consistent. So this triangle is dimension. This spiky thing is tech. This sort of like round thing with 4 points to it is a fusion. And then this like diamond looking thing is singular. That is always going to be the case, so you can just identify at a glance which one you have. So, you know, with that knowledge, you can see that I've got all singular ones here. And then just this one fusion one. So if you mouse over this, it's going to show you some information. Now, for the ones that you find while leveling, you're not going to have the options at the bottom. So see, I'm using that word again. So skill cooldown, skill critical hit damage, those are the options. You're not going to find that on blue ones, but you will see it on purple ones, and of course you'll see it on ultimate ones. Those cannot be changed, but they can be upgraded and like increased. You used to not be able to do that. You can now. So I figured that I would mention it. Just equip the one that's going to give you the most skill power while you're leveling, and you can refine it later. And I'll teach you how to find the ones that you need and what to do with them, things like that. So in this case, you can see this is buffing my chill and my fusion, and you can see that under those, there it's also telling me basically my effective skill power that I would have on each one of those things. So that left thing is my first ability, 27,778, and then my far right one is a tech ability. You can see by the icon. See how there's little icons under that chill icon? That little swirly thing looks like fusion, and then the thing that kind of looks like a camera lens, I guess, is you know, tech, and you can see that has lower power at 23,148. Okay, so that covers these. That's how you would identify which reactor you want to use and what it's doing for you. In this case, mine is buffing chill, skill boost ratio by 0.2. That means a 20% increase, and my fusion by another 20%. So that's why you see the discrepancy in those numbers. The one on my far right ability there is not a fusion ability. It is a tech ability. The other 3 are fusion. So, all right. And then the last thing, despawned. So there was a module here, and it looks like this icon on the drop, like on the ground. So it's I don't know, it looks like a processor or something. Let me go over to a safe area, so that way things aren't like not attacking me during this. All right. Yes, there's mounts in the game. We'll get into that later. You won't be able to get them while leveling, so do not worry about getting them while leveling. Modules. So any module that you find, that drop type will show up in here. Modules can be reused between characters, so if you ever invest in a module, you can just take it out freely. Let me go to a character that I don't care about as much because I don't want to screw up my... Actually, it doesn't matter. I forgot I can just not save. So you can just do whatever on these. There's no cost to it. You can put, you know, you can put them in and out freely. So don't worry about that too much. You can do whatever you want with them. And upgrading one of them means that any character gets to use the upgraded one. There will be ones to watch out for. Let me look at my script really quick. Okay. That is fine. I will discuss later which one of the modules are actually important. But let me discuss really quick, just so you're not confused when you see them, because you're probably going to get like your first module and be like, what the heck am I looking at? Modules have a type. That is the like R that you see here, the A looking thing here, the C thing that you see here. Those correspond with this if you're ever looking for the name. So you have Cerulean, Almudine, Malachite, Xantic, and Rutile. And then they've got a cost. That cost, you can see how much you can equip up here at your module capacity. So you can see I have an 85 module capacity. That will probably be not what you have when you first start the game. Yours is probably going to be like 30 to 50 or something like that. There will be ways to increase that, so you don't need to do that yet. One of those is tied to mastery rank, one of them is tied to energy activators, and then one of them is tied to this thing here, which is its own special module that you can see increases your capacity, in my case by 15. So if you are to place one of these, I'm trying to tell you this right now because these modules are able to be freely equipped and removed, there is no cost to basically just deciding to throw some on and try them out. So that's why I sort of just want to describe them right now, because this is meant to be, like I said, the order that you encounter things in the game. So it is worth, figuring this out right now, and then when you're tired of hearing me talk, you can turn it off and turn it back on again later. So you will have, let me go to a character that I have not upgraded. We will do Ajax, because he's another one of the starting characters. So you can see over here, there is nothing equipped. So you can see my module capacity is at 0 out of 50. And then if I were to equip a sub module, I believe they are labeled in such a capacity that, well, we'll see here. Okay. I don't actually know if there is a way to show just the sub modules, but they only go on one slot. So I think one of the first ones you'll get is either long distance, mid-air maneuvering, multi-maneuvering, or you might get something like short sword or dagger or something. The way you'll be able to identify a submodule is with the plus here. So it's going to be, that is specific just to the submodule, and they can only go in this slot. And you can see that once I've equipped short sword, I now have 60 module capacity to work with. So I'm just going to leave that in right now for the demonstration. You'll notice that these have a couple different icons on them. This is also a reserved slot, by the way. This is for Transcendent Modules. You probably won't get one super early, but you will find them while leveling. Basically, they just change the way your abilities function. So I'm not going to get into each one, but if you put one in here, it will provide an additional cost, but it may significantly modify the way that your abilities work, and you'll be able to identify that because they will glow in green. I'm just going to show you really fast and then not really go into it much more. So you can see that this is now green. There are some that are very heavily modified. For instance, on Viessa, you can equip one of these and all of your abilities are going to light up green because it changes every single one of hers. Just letting you know it's there. I'm not going to touch on it further than that. The ones that you're mainly going to be working with are going to be this one for the bonus, and then these while you're leveling. So this has a square or like an empty box in it. That means that if you put something in it, it will take up the cost that you see on it. So this is a malachite. It takes up 16 points, and you can see I now have 16 out of 60. If I were to move this malachite into the slot with the M, it is now 8 points. So it takes it and it cuts it in half. So that is one thing that you can do if you want to. Not all modules are equal, so there may be ones that are just useless, so you may not want to put anything in it. Usually the R's are associated with things that increase range or cooldown, range or how long something lasts. Usually these are associated with things like cooldown and a variety of other stuff. And then there's a bunch of different other things that they all line up. Those are just some common ones. If I were to take this same one, because it is an M, you'll notice that this one and this one do not have this little box here. It can have that box and one of these. So like you could have R and that box. This box basically means free space, and it will cost however much is on here unless you align with the type. So you can see it's 16 in any one of these. I put it into M, it's 8. And now when I put it into R, it's 21, right? So it went up in cost. So in this case, it's not quite 50% more, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what the math is on that, but suffice to say, you don't really ever want to do this. But those are your modules. Wanted to get those out of the way because you'll encounter them pretty early. All right, let me look at my script again. Just give me 1 second. Okay, there could be one more thing that you're going to encounter while you are out in the field and just doing random quests, and it is another drop type. So that is external components. These, I'm just going to briefly touch on them. The important thing, and the ones that you're going to find while leveling, is they will have, of course, a level associated with them, and then that top line, see where it says max HP 646, that is going to be the thing that you care about the most while leveling. The stuff that you see under this, you're going to find potentially ones that look more like this. They'll have like 2 blank lines, or maybe they won't have those blank lines at all on some of the lower level ones. I don't know, because these were added after I got to max level, so I don't actually know what shows up on the lower level ones. But you'll also see 2 things under that. Those are the options. Once again, those options, only certain options can appear on certain types of external components. I would not worry about min-maxing them while you're leveling. But in this case, for instance, maximum HP and MP recovery out of combat can only appear on the one that says auxiliary power. So auxiliary power is the one that goes in this slot. This one is a sensor. This one is a memory component, and then this one is a processor. You cannot mix and match them. One of those types has to go into each one of these respective slots. The options on them, like I said, are set to the type in it. So you will never see maximum HP option on a sensor. In this case, this one has max MP and MP recovery in combat instead of MP recovery out of combat. I cannot get those stats on this. This one cannot get this one's stats. You can only get them on certain things. You will not need to worry about min-maxing these until you get to the point where you are finding ultimate quality ones of these, and they are basically like tier sets. So obviously you've had the chance to stop the video and read what's on mine if you want to, or what's on this one over here, but they're basically tier sets. So you will not need to worry about that while leveling, and because you cannot pick what those options are, it just drops with them, and it is purely random, but you can upgrade them to make them, to like max them out. So notice how this one wasn't upgraded, but this one is upgraded. It's at 914. This one's at 504 out of 914. So basically, while you are leveling, just equip the ones that are giving you the best stat up at the top, and I wouldn't worry about any of the set effects or anything like that. The stats that you're going to care about the most usually are going to be maximum HP, so max HP, and then defense. I don't have a defense one here, but I do know where one is. So that one has defense, for instance. And this one, because it is an ultimate piece, will always have defense. But I think while you're leveling, some of them are randomized. The stuff up at the top. I could be wrong on that. It may always drop the same kind, just depending on the mission, but they're like very generic while you're leveling. So just, I wouldn't worry about farming them or anything. Like I said, just equip the ones that have HP and defense, ideally. That's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Okay. This should cover your general mission-to-mission stuff on the drops that you are encountering. But the next thing that you're going to encounter after you have done a couple of missions is your inventory might get full. So let's see here. I've said you don't want to invest in too much stuff yet. So we are going to go over the loot filters because your inventory is going to get full. I just want to show you how to quickly and easily deal with your inventory so that you're not fighting it while you're trying to just do the story missions. In each one of these categories, so reactor, external components, and weapons, there is a separate loot filter that you can specify. It is this junk filter you see at the bottom, and it is basically parameters for setting what you identify as junk. So I'm going to take 2 of these. That little heart is a favorite. It prevents me from junking it. So I'm going to remove these from the favorites so I can show you how the junk filter works really quick. So the weapon one is very easy. Basically, you're just saying anything that is so do not scrap anything that is ultimate or higher. Do not scrap anything that is rare or higher, is what this is saying for you. So if I were to do this and then you hold down, at least on keyboard, I'm going to give you all the keyboard shortcuts for stuff, but the game's UI is pretty intuitive. Whenever I identify one of these things, it should show you what it is for like a controller down here. So in this case, I'm just going to click it so you can see me do it. So designate all as junk. You can see that it designated this one as junk because this one is not rare or higher. So this is saying keep rare or higher and keep anything level 100 or above. So I will do that, move it down to rare. So now it should try to get rid of this as well. Actually, it won't because that one's level 100. So let me just demonstrate with this weapon. So this is basically saying keep anything rare, or sorry, blue or higher and 30 or higher. So this should stay and not be qualified as junk. So you can see when I click this, it's not junk. So if I were to move this up to 42, it should still stay. But once I've moved this exactly to 43, I'm saying basically anything that is not 43 or higher or not normal or higher, it should now be junk. And you can see that it is. It gets the little trash can icon, and then you hit control, you hit dismantle junk. So for me, that's holding down control, and it will get rid of this item. I'm actually keeping this because I want it. As for a different thing I'll go over later. But that is how that works for that. The weapon filter is much easier than the other ones. So this one, you don't need to worry about all this crap yet. There's a lot of stuff here, like I said, because you can't do a lot with the options. These are the options that you're saying you want to keep. Remember, that's the stuff that's right down there. For me, this is Colossus attack and singular boost ratio. Those yellow words down at the bottom. Because you can't pick those while you're leveling, you don't really need to worry about this too much. But basically, all you're doing is you're specifying the level of the option you would prefer to stick around. So for me, I'm saying that I want to keep anything that has Colossus attack and skill critical hit damage at the normal level or higher. But yet again, you don't need to worry about the yet. The things that you're going to care about are going to be these 3 rows, which is just specifying the quality. For you, you're probably going to want to set this to this, normal or higher, just so you keep all of them. And then just slide this up as you move through the levels, and you don't need your old reactors or stuff anymore. That's pretty much it. If you want to manually get rid of an item, at least on, you can do that. So like, let's say I just particularly didn't want this guy, you can just hit, at least on my keyboard, it's J. So you can, I believe it's, this one is just, yeah, so it says it down there at the bottom, select as J. To select it as junk specifically. So while you're leveling, you may also want to just handle loot that way. But yeah, just briefly touching on these really quick. For when you, by the time you get to max level, you'll probably just naturally figure out how this works. But yeah, you'll set these ones, and then for at least for the reactors, you're going to say whether or not to include the option filter, which, you know, yet again, that keyword is options. And then if it needs to match 2 or more of your options, and then whether to include or exclude things. So I don't want to get too much further into that. This is the exact same way as the reactors, and the top part is the exact same way you see other stuff. You're probably only going to need to worry about this top part while leveling, but once you hit max level, or once you finish like the story and stuff, you yet again have a way to filter the options. So you can say, I only want to keep things with maximum HP, for instance, and MP recovery out of combat, wherever that is. Do I have that in here? Am I dumb? Oh yeah, there it is. It's highlighted in yellow. So only these can only show up on an auxiliary power. So basically I'm saying, and I've memorized that. You'll just have to, there are charts online you can look at. I don't want to go into where each one of these goes and which of the external components right now, but you can just look it up. But basically this would be saying that any auxiliary power that drops with these 2 things at the yellow level, go ahead and keep it. And so that way I can quickly identify stuff. And part of the reason this is effective is because you can get pets, and your pets will auto pick up and auto junk things for you. They're actually a very good investment. You can farm them or you can buy them from the shop. They don't take terribly long to farm, but your quality of life will go up enormously when you have one. So it may be something that you also just decide to buy from the shop with like real dollars if you want to. So pay to go faster, I guess, in that sense. To actually farm one, I think it's only maybe a few hours of effort. So it's just up to you. Okay. Have I covered everything that you're going to encounter so that way your character screen makes sense while you're playing the game? Let me look at my script. So I have discussed the mission types and which ones to ignore. What are each of the drop types? There will be just random things that drop on the ground that aren't an item. Those are just consumables. So it will be like ammunition. You can tell which ammo type it is based off of what the color it is. So in this case, if you see like a purple glowing drop, it's a high-powered round. If you see a green glowing drop, it is an impact round. And if you see a white glowing drop, it is a general round, which should be these. Weapons do have different types of ammunition, as I just said. It doesn't matter for the most part, except for there are ways to convert ammo types so you can get more or less of one ammo drop. And sometimes for the events or particular things, you will need to hit something with a particular ammo type or kill something with a particular ammo type to complete like an event condition or something like that. So that's just something that's good to know. All right, so I think I've told you what things to worry about too, what things can be modified. You can upgrade your weapon levels, like I said, if you want to. I will teach you how to do that in a bit. It's probably not something you need to worry about super early. And then you should not worry about any of the options that you should see on stuff. Don't let that overwhelm you. Just ignore it. I've gone over the loot filters. Okay. There are a few other things to look at while you are going through the story and doing some of the missions. There are one or two weapons that, well, there's special drops that you can get in certain missions. I'm going to teach you how to find those drops right after I discuss what they are. And then we'll go into where to go to like interface with upgrading things and researching things and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to show you some of these things at the start here. Let's see. I think that there are some that drop in here. I don't know why I would be second guessing myself, but oh wait, this is on hard mode. I'm hoping I can just mouse over one and find it, but maybe, okay. So there's kind of like two sorts of rewards. I kind of want to show you both of the types. Let me go back to Albion really quick. You'll have to bear with me doing this all in like one cut. I'm gonna pause to let my voice rest, and I'll do the second half of the video. At this point, you should be pretty good to just play the game and enjoy it, but there's some stuff I want you to realize and watch out for in relation to things you can choose to do while leveling. So let's see if it lets me do this now. Okay, good. So there's two different types of rewards. There are amorphous patterns. It will tell you an acquisition chance. So this means that if you were to complete this mission, you have a 100% chance to get this amorphous pattern. This thing is basically a little mini loot box that can give you some stuff. And it is usually things that you need to build a character or a weapon or one of the upgrade materials to upgrade a weapon or a character. So in this case, an energy activator is an upgrade material for a character. And then Afterglow Sword Fragment, Greg's Reverse Fate, and Smithereens are all weapons that you could use. So this would be a piece of the thing that you need to build that weapon. And then Glay Code is a piece of a thing you need to research Glay, who is a character. This is encountered in the first dungeon, so you can see that you're not getting them out here, but you might. So like you can see that one of the pieces for Bunny comes from this mission. Another piece for Bunny comes from this mission. So in this case, these are just what you get after the mission. So these are just general like drops that can occur. It does tell you for some reason the percentage here of the drop rate. Doesn't tell you here. Don't ask me the reason why. So you have a 20% chance of getting the Bunny stabilizer when you do this mission. So if you want to try to unlock regular Bunny early, you may want to do it a few times. That is up to you. That's why I'm mentioning it right now. Okay, I had to retake this little segment really quick because it made more sense to describe this here, even though I cover it later in the video, because I was talking about getting a piece of the Bunny blueprint, and it's only a 20% drop rate. I say only, that's not a bad drop rate, but if you go into the library, so if we go into here, and because we're basically deciding we want to try to farm for Bunny, and now that you've seen that you can do that, you may want to do that. So I want to show you really quick. This is the library. You can figure out the key binding from the settings. For me, I have it set to J, but I don't think it's going to be that for you. But go into Descendants. You can then scroll down to Bunny, and you can do this for any character in the game. You can do this for any part in the game, pretty much. So any of the things you see here, pretty much, or even the things that are on the research on the right. If you were to then, so we were trying to get that Bunny stabilizer from that mission. If we click on F for this info, or for the acquisition info, it tells me where to get it. But the thing, and I'm going to discuss this entire library thing later in the video, but you might not get to that yet. But I want to discuss something that's really important, is that you can set this as a target reward. And if you set that as a target reward, it's not, this is a target item, this does nothing. A target reward will show up in these 4 things, and you can only have 4 selected at a time. Every single time you go to do that mission and you don't get the Bunny stabilizer, this number will go up until you eventually get it. So it is a pity system to guarantee that you get the item, and you can't just run the mission 100 times and never get it. So I just wanted to cover that really quick, but I'm going to go into how to use this library feature in depth later, and I'll have a timestamp in the description. So sorry that I'm just throwing this in right now, but if you choose to farm one of these items while you are leveling, it's important to understand that this feature exists. And all you need to do is go in and find the thing you're trying to get, whether it's a descendant or a character, and then click on the item that you're trying to get, and then make sure that you are setting it as a target reward. So here I would go over to, for instance, Glay. I need this enhanced cell. I click acquisition info, and I guess for this one you can't, because it comes from a pattern. You can't set it as a target reward, but certain things you will be able to do that. So for instance, for Freyna, I can set it as a target reward. It just depends how it's crafted. For a lot of the characters that take like these individual little parts like this, you might not be able to, because it drops from a pattern instead. But for some of the characters where it's giving you the whole thing, like for Freyna, you can. So that'll be, it just depends where the thing's coming from. So if it's like a drop from a mission, then you should be able to set it as a target reward. But if it's like from one of the patterns, it might not let you. I just want you to know it exists. Anyways, sorry, there's a long-winded way of saying that, but I wanted to make sure you knew it was there if you tried to farm something to check to see if you could set it as the target reward. Anyways, back to the video. Sorry. This will be things to watch out for, is these things that you use to get characters or research weapons. So any of the characters, just decide to do, you will want all of them eventually, as I've said. You can either get them now while leveling, or you can do them later once you are ready to get them. It is just up to you. Just decide when you want to get them, but you will want them, and you also will need them, because they are tied to a mechanic that increases your account level, and that account level can like gatekeep content. So you will have to level it up enough to get to different kinds of content. So also you can select the amorphous material up here. You can see there's 2 different kinds. This one gives a component for Ultimate Lepic. So that's a character, and then Final Masterpiece, which is a weapon, Crystallization Catalyst, which is an upgrade material for Descendants, and then Piercing Light, which is a weapon, and Nestra's, or Nezastra's, I don't know how I said that before, Devotion for, which is also a weapon. So there is one more thing on this. These are the shape stabilizers. You can get these via a variety of different things. You can't particularly farm them. You sort of can. It's really slow. I wouldn't worry about it, but they alter the drop chance of these things. So you might equip that advanced shape stabilizer on this one right here, and it might boost your chance to get the energy activator from 3% to like 20%. But usually it's not too big of a deal because one, you usually get the stabilizers via events and things. You can also buy some weekly, not with real money, but with like in-game currency. And I just wouldn't worry about it too much. Getting these patterns is usually not a big deal. Alrighty, so the reason that I mentioned these drops is because there are two things that I would watch out for while you are leveling. There's two weapons that I would watch out for. The characters, just get them whenever you feel like it. It's up to you whether you want to stop to try to get the particular component. Characters, when you go to, once you get all their pieces, so for some of these early characters, like you'll notice Bunny is like very early, like one of the first missions that you can start to unlock Bunny with. Let me just show you. You will notice that you only need these pieces and they drop as a whole piece. This will change as you go through the game, and so some of them will not require, or will require things to like research that particular piece. So you'll see if I get to Valby, I get that same things, that enhanced cell that you saw for Bunny right here. This doesn't require anything. I just get the whole enhanced cell when I finish that mission. But for Valby, I need to get all these different components along with this thing called the enhanced cell blueprints to get the enhanced cell. And then only once I have all four of these pieces can I finally go to unlock Valby. And so what you will need to do is you'll need to research each of these pieces first and get the code, and then that will allow you to research the Descendant. And when that research has finished, you obtain the Descendant and you get to use them. So for Bunny, you'll see it's sort of short-circuited. That's because she's just an early character. She's like a canon character. So you can just pick these up as is. You don't need to research them ahead of time. And then once you get all four pieces of these, you can immediately start to research Bunny. There might even be something in the story that just gives you her like immediately. But there's normally a time associated with that research. Is part of why I mention it while leveling, that you may want to like do it or something like that. Is because I think for Ultimate Descendants it's like 30 hours for it to research, and then I think for regular Descendants I want to say it's like half that or something. I want to say it's like 15 or 18. So it's just up to you. There's a high likelihood when you start the game that they will just give you boxes that allow you to just pick up a character immediately for free without doing anything else. They will usually look like this because I've got a bunch of them. So this is a Descendant purchase ticket selection box. Any of the characters that you see in this, you can immediately get without researching at all. You click on this, you select the character that you want, and then you take this over to a character in Albion. She's right here, I believe. And at least I think that's where you take it. Hold on, let me just double check for you. Okay, I can't look from here without actually doing it, but I believe it's her. Is you take it to Anais. She's the character that does all the research stuff, but we'll go over this shop. This is basically like the upgrade shop area, and then this is basically like the mission area in Albion. So, but yeah, Anais, I believe, does that stuff. There's also the chance that they give you weapon boxes. Let me see if I can find one really quick here. There it is. Nice, I can't spell. So this thing. This just allows you to pick up a weapon as well, for no research time. You just get it. You click the button and you just get it. Otherwise, normally obtaining a weapon is the same process. You will need to acquire each of the pieces for that weapon. So for Restored Relic Launcher, I would need to go out and get all these different materials. Remember, these other things are largely going to come from those like boxes and barrels and stuff that you kick during the middle of a mission. But I'm going to teach you how to find exactly what you need to get each character after this. Each character and each weapon. It is very easy to do. This looks like a lot of information. I should probably edit that into the first part in like a note on the screen so people know this looks like a lot of info, but trust me, it's not a lot of info because this game is one of the best UIs that I've encountered in any game once you know how to use it. So there are two things that I would, for any of the characters, now that I've told you that there's like a research time associated with them and that you will want all of them, I will leave that up to you to decide when and where you want to get a Descendant. There will be upgrade materials for that Descendant, however, you may not want to invest in that Descendant early. There are a couple of weapons that are very good while leveling. One of them is Restored Relic Launcher. So if you see parts for Restored Relic Launcher while you are leveling, you may want to try to get a copy of this, and I do recommend investing in it. The reason that I recommend it is because for Descendants, for some Descendants, there's a regular and an ultimate version. You would not want to invest in the regular version of a Descendant. Usually, it is up to you if you want to. I will explain why you would and would not want to. But you can see that there's different ones here. So there's Bunny, and then there's also Ultimate Bunny, who's up here. So those are different characters. Doing something for one of them does not do it for the other one. They're totally different. Seeing that, you're probably like, oh my gosh, this is like the paid version of the Descendant. No, it's not. You're still not going to be buying these with real money. Trust me, you're still just unlocking them in game. The only difference between these two characters, while we're just on the subject, is that Ultimate Bunny has more defensive stats. Defensive stats are usually the thing that is foregone the most quickly when you're playing the game. Most people get rid of all of their defenses. There's no offensive power associated with Ultimate Bunny. It is strictly a small defensive increase. Usually for most characters, it is single-digit percents. I think specifically for Bunny, it's a little bit more than that because she was like the very first one that they made, and I think it's less important for all of the other ones. But we'll go over that. So the main thing that I wanted to say, though, was the reason that you may want to invest in weapons is that weapons are like universal. So once you have a good weapon, you can use a good weapon to level up other Descendants. But if you just choose to invest in one Descendant, then you can't use that to level up other Descendants. And you can use one good weapon to level up other weapons as well. So it's a pretty good idea to invest in a weapon. And so my recommendation, there are two pretty good ones while leveling that you can get pretty early too, if I recall. One is Restored Relic Launcher. So if you see this in the loot table, I would recommend trying to get one copy of it at the very least. If you get multiple copies, you can upgrade its unique ability. I don't know that I would worry about doing that while you're leveling. I would just get one copy, and then it is worth putting like upgrade materials and investments and things into that. The other weapon is one called Thunder Cage. This is also very good. Same thing. If you see it, I would pick it up. If you want to specifically farm it, also, the reason that that's useful is the weapon boxes. You can just pick one of those if you want it. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in here. You can take what you want, but I'm recommending picking up one copy of Restored Relic and Thunder Cage because I think that they will make your life a lot better. So we will go over that. I'm not going to go over how to build those weapons right now, but really briefly, the weapons with the modules, it's the same thing as the characters, except that the modules are per ammo type. So if you upgrade a module that's like high powered, you are not upgrading. That same module may exist for an impact or a general round weapon, but you have not upgraded it for that ammo type. The upgrades are per ammo type, but they are totally like you know, reusable and stuff like that, like the other one. And you still have the same module capacity system, the same squares and boxes and things, all that sort of stuff. So, okay. All right, there's an event I want to do in game that starts in 3 minutes. So what I'm going to do is cut to the next part of the video. Okay. I have completed my event. So we are back, and you'll notice that I'm in the other part of Albion. There's a little path you can go through. This is where it normally drops you off. You can also just teleport here directly, or walk over, or whatever. You can also teleport here directly from the field, or you can just go here, teleport from town, or just walk, like I said. Let me actually, really quick, I am going to go back over to here, because I'm going to go over the mission types really, really quick. In this other area of the town, this is where you can queue for all different kinds of content. You can also obviously just freely teleport in and out of these fields to any of these warp points, and all of the different kinds of content are also available on this map. I do not believe that there's anything in the game that you cannot queue into from this screen. For me on the PC, it is G. I think it's like the start button or something like that. Or it might just be like select button twice to get to this map on controller. I can't remember. But you'll see there's some stuff off to the sides. There's some stuff down here, and then all these different things. So your screen will not look like this. Once you finish, or once you go through the story, you'll unlock each of these different areas, and then this and this are gated behind your account level. And yeah, okay. So if you were looking to manually queue up for a particular content type, they are here. This guy does Void Intercept Battles, is what they're called, and those are fights with Colossi. You may need to do 1 or 2 of them a day for an event. This is Void Erosion Purge. No, it's not. Sorry, this is Void Vessel. Ignore what I just said. It is Void Vessel. There are 2 different difficulties and 2 different maps. There are certain drops near you may want to get. You may need to do it for an event. This is Special Operations. Yet again, I'm trying to give you the names for these things because if you do see an event for it, it will say this in its name. So it might say to do a special operation. It comes in, you know, normal and in hard mode. There used to be a lot more of these. They kind of narrowed it down to, at least for the hard mode ones, there's just like 2 now. But there used to be just as many as the normal. I think the hard mode ones might rotate or something, I can't remember, but there's not a great reason to do these in most scenarios, but they do give a decent chunk of character and weapon experience. This is not a special operation. See how it doesn't say it in front of it, but it is just a different kind of content you can queue into from here. Don't need to worry about that yet. You won't be able to unlock this for quite some time. And then the last one is this stuff, which is the infiltration operations. Yet again, if you see an event that does that, or that has that in the name, this is what they're looking for. It's these top 2. Void Erosion Purge is not an infiltration operation, even though it is at this terminal. Just like the other ones with the, whatever those were called. Well, what was that? Special operations. There we go. Breach tracking was not a special operation. So infiltration operations come in normal and hard mode, and there's also invasions, which are these things that you may want to do. But that will be in the like max level, finish the story second half of this guide. So this is all the stuff that I just want to show you while you're leveling on where to go to find stuff. This terminal particularly is handy from the map, because if you look at like Kingston, you're like, wow, there's like 50 different things. Where are the dungeons, right? Like, well, how do I know which one is the dungeon that I want to go to? This cuts out all the cruft and just like shows you the dungeons, and there's 2 dungeons in each area. So you can see this is Magister's Lab, right? And I can queue into it directly from here. I can also queue into it directly from here. It is this level, Magister's Lab. And I can do it from my map too. It's just this kind of like cuts out the cruft of the other stuff. So just wanted to show you that. We're just moving over to the other part of Albion. This is the crafting area and like upgrade area and all that sort of stuff. So the thing that I was talking about before I went to go do my event though was like acquiring Thunder Cage and Restored Relic Launcher and stuff like that. How do you get those? Oh, sorry, let me pull up my script. Right. If you choose to get Restored Relic Launcher, in the gameplay options, there are ways where you can enable or disable certain things on your screen. Things like seeing damage types or numbers or things like that, or even things with like mid-air maneuvering and stuff like that. If you choose to get a rocket launcher, you may want to look at this setting, which allows you to hide the effects of explosions. I say this because Restored Relic Launcher is very visually aggressive with the amount of explosions it has. So you can see I have it set to hide everything. You may want to do that if you just are seeing too many explosions on your screen. The other option here that I never touched on, which you may want to know, actually there's two. So one is display option range. Remember the keyword options? That will show you the range for the options. You will not normally see, for instance, like 10.7 to 12.9 multi-hit chance. That is a setting that I toggled on. The last thing is, maybe this is of some concern to people. Here you can select the strength of gravity on the female descendants specifically. You can, turn that off or make it affect them more or less. So maybe that's something that concerns you. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to go basically through each one of these shops really quick. Well, let me go through how to find the things that you would need in each one of these shops. What is the... Yeah, you know what? No, we'll just go through each one of the shops first. And then as we encounter that type, I'll show you how to find it. So this guy is kind of unimportant. He offers the old Battle Pass weapons. So trade limited weapons. He does not have all of the Battle Pass weapons. I believe that he has everything except for the two most recent. So for this one, he's currently missing the sword called Hypernova, and he's missing the rocket launcher called Exterminator. So I believe Exterminator will show up next, and then Hypernova will show up the season after that. So just letting you know, you will eventually want to collect everything in the game, because it is tied to, having them is tied to your mastery rank, which is the thing that gates content. The highest mastery rank is 31. But we'll go over that because it's more relevant once you've finished the campaign. The next shop is this one. This is where you would go if you want to increase the level of a weapon, as you saw that I was discussing earlier. I believe I have to show you an example, I have to unlock these really quick. So it does not need to be the same type. It does not need to be the same gun or anything. The only thing that matters is the weapon level. So like, let's say I really like this guy. I can click on him, and I can click on this, and it says that I need one of these phase exchangers. But if I do that, click this button, then it will turn this into a level 100 gun, and this one will disappear. It will go poof. So make sure you do or don't want to do that. So this is a really good time to introduce you to something called the library, which is the best feature in this game, because you might have just seen that required a phase exchanger, and you might be saying, how do I get a phase exchanger, right? So I guess I got rid of it, so I can't show you. You can see the key binding for this and set the key binding for this by going into here, I believe, and selecting these. There's probably just, I don't know, there's some way to get to it through the controller. It's in its own menu, so you'll see like it's in like the map menu area. I don't know how you get to this stuff on controller. Don't ask me. But there's two different menus, so you can see that the menus have now changed. So there are two different keybinds. I have specifically keybound this for myself to like J, I think, on the keyboard. But at least if you are playing on PC, you can go down here and set directly to go to the library if you want to. Maybe you want to set to like L or something. I don't know. I have it set to J instead of journal because I've never needed to go to the journal. This thing right here is your friend. This will show you how to find and get to every single thing in the game that you want to get to or acquire. So let me teach you how to use it. So I will give you the first example of using it, and then I will show you more examples as we get through each of the shops. So that phase exchanger is considered an enhancement material. So you would go over here to an enhancement material. Basically, you've got a couple of different things. You remember the amorphous patterns before. These are things you're going to need for crafting. These are just random things, whatever. I don't know what they are. This is what you would need, I believe, for like upgrading Descendants and stuff like that, or like crafting Descendants and vehicles and weapons and stuff. You have your external components. It can teach you where to get those, all the different modules in the game and where to find them. Mutant cells, I'll get into those in the end game guide. Your pets, same thing. Enhancement materials, this is going to be anything related to modifying your weapon or upgrading your weapon or your character in some way. So if you're ever, questioning where one of those types of things are, just think about what you're trying to do, and that's probably going to help you figure out which category it's in. And then these are obviously all the different weapons. It only has the ultimate ones in here because the ultimate ones are the only ones that matter. And then all of your Descendants. So because we are trying to modify our weapon, we're going to go over here, we're going to click weapon. Actually, we don't want to do that. We're going to enhancement material, sorry, because we're trying to enhance it. I didn't realize this was the same screen. And then we're going to look for a phase exchanger. So I can go in here and I can type phase, or if you're on the keyboard and mouse, or not keyboard and mouse controller, and you don't, it's not easy to type, you can just scroll through, I think, using the right thumbstick and see that there are phase exchangers. So you might go to these and see there's two different ways to craft them. They require, this is probably not the best way to show you how to use this system because this is probably the only item that functions this way, because there's two different materials that you can use to craft the exact same item. So in this case, the one that you're going to find while leveling is this. You might be saying, well, what the hell is that thing? So if I mouse over it, it's telling me that it is super alloy. If I then click F, it will show me how to get it. It says that you get this via dismantling standard and rare weapons. So if you go out and you find standard or rare weapons and you dismantle them, you will acquire this material, which you can then use to craft a phase exchanger at Anais. So this is a research thing that you have to go do, right? So you would run over here. This is Anais. She handles anything that is related to getting like crafting items, stuff like that. Click research request. This is an enhancement material. So you go over to phase exchanger, you click on it, and you can make it, and it will take 1 minute to craft, costs 2,500 gold, and then you will be able to use that to transfer the level of one of your guns onto a different gun if you have one you particularly like. And I'm going to go over each of these examples, like I said. So weapon readjustment. Weapon readjustment changes the options. So that's that thing from earlier. So the bottom 4 things, the top 5 things that you see there are cores. Those are an endgame thing, so you won't normally see those, but I will get into them in the endgame guide. You will see the options though, and as the level rises on a weapon, the options will not update, but you can readjust those options using this material here, and it will re-roll them to the higher level if you want to do that. But these don't really matter while you're leveling, like I said, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But you can see it takes 1. I can opt to lock these. Now it takes 5. And if I were to click, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to lose this, but the, actually I can show you on one of the other ones. Yeah. So if I just click this button, you can see I get new ones. I can opt to click that and lock it, and now it takes 2. And then it will only re-roll these ones. And then these are the things that you can get. So yet again, you may be saying, where do I get this? This adjustment control axis, same thing. We're trying to do something with our weapon, so it's an enhancement material. We're going to scroll down. Adjustment control axis. Where do I get this? I get it from dismantling again. Now there are 2 types of this. Basically, this other one is just for dismantling the maximum level of weapons, so like level 100 weapons. So you're going to see these 2 first, and then these are the thing that you're going to get once you start getting like level 100 stuff. That's like the only, these are like the only things that really function in this way, is that there's like dismantling the ones at maximum level, and the ones while you're leveling give 2 different resources. So you can see it's the same for this. This is the one for maximum level. I've got 9 million of them, not kidding. And then the ones for while leveling, I have 15,000. So, all right. The last thing in the shop is enhancing the unique ability of weapons. I can't demonstrate it because I don't have any more laying around, but If you have duplicates of an ultimate weapon, so if I were to have another Wave of Light, it does not need to be level 100. In fact, when you finish a research, it will give you a level 1 weapon from a research. And then you actually have to do like the weapon level transmission to turn it into like a level 100 one if you want to. So that'll be the case for all ultimate weapons. Like if you just pull a weapon out of a box, it's going to be level 1 because they want to make sure you can use it. So it's very cheap to imprint the level as I've shown you. So don't worry about that. Just go find any current level gun and upgrade your current your current weapon. So if you pulled Thunder Cage or Restored Relic out of a box and it's level 1, just go get a higher level weapon and then just imprint the level of that higher level weapon onto the ultimate one. So that'd be from one of these guys. So that's how you would do that. And then if you would had like 2 Thunder Cages or something, you'd be able to click on this and then click on the other Thunder Cage, and then it will raise this star level up to 4 times. And the unique ability associated with that weapon will go up by 1. And that is account wide. So if you were to get a 5th one, so like, or 6th one, I guess. So you have your base one and it has 0 stars. In this case, Clairvoyance has 0 stars. So if I were to acquire 4 more Clairvoyances and come over here, I could take this up to max level and it will make the unique ability called the Thing Beyond. It's right below the options. Up to level 4. And then if I were to acquire another one, that one will still also have the unique ability upgraded the whole way. So that's just important to know. So there is a reason you might want 2 of the same weapon. I'm just letting you know that you do not have to upgrade the unique ability like 8 times. You just have to do it 4 for the first level, or for the first weapon, and then whatever additional weapons you have all have the same upgrade level for that. That's what you do at this shop. This is an endgame shop, so we're not going to discuss that right now. Reactor enhancement. You can make your reactors stronger. Don't do this while leveling. Also, don't really do it while once you've just hit max level. You can do these first two upgrades. They're very, very cheap. This item's very easy to get. These ones are a little bit harder to get, so I wouldn't go up to this 3rd level. Just letting you know that you can do it. It just increases the skill power. Don't do it on anything while leveling. Only level 100 stuff. Option enhancement, same thing. So this is what I was talking about. You can't re-roll these, but you can make them better. So this would make the tech skill power boost ratio higher. This one makes the cooldown better, the skill cost better, that sort of stuff. You can make these maximum rank. You can do this as many times as you want. The cost goes up through time. But as you can see, these materials are pretty easy to come by. I have literally 9 million of each, so that is for enhancing the options. You can't change them, just upgrade them. Same thing with these. With your external components, you can increase it up to the maximum value, but you cannot re-roll them. There's no way to re-roll them. You can only increase them. Ignore this guy for now. It just has stuff related to cores, but cores are an endgame material. Research. So the amorphous material patterns from earlier, these guys, these little bricks, to open these little loot boxes, you go to this thing. And you just click this, and you click on one, and then you do shape or shape continuously. I'm just going to click one. And then you play a little animation, you get an item out of it. So I got a piece for building Nazestra's Devotion. So it used to be that you had to either kill a Colossus to open a singular box, or go out into the field to one of these things and collect a material from this thing, and then use that material in here to complete this to open one box. You don't have to do any of that anymore. It is just all here. It doesn't require any of the materials. You can do as many as you want. It's all free. You just click it and you click open. That is it. So, Anais, she does all of the research.
The special human child.
So this should just be self-explanatory. There is a research time associated with stuff. You are almost always going to have one of these crystallization catalysts cooking when you can. These are not going to be something that you can really get while leveling, but once you hit maximum level and you finish the campaign and stuff, you will pretty much want one of these always cooking. This is the thing that like people were saying was like making it like pay to win or something. They do take, I think, 6 hours to craft currently or something like that, but they give a ton of them out for events. And you can see that, you know, I've got 75, and then I have the materials for 50 more of them. So I've got 125 of them, and then I've also used 25 on this character, 10 on this character, 20 on this character, 18 on this character, 21, 18, 9, 10, 24. I've gotten hundreds of them, and there's people with hundreds more than I have. You will eventually be swimming in them. It will not feel that way when you start the game, but you will eventually be swimming in them. Those are the most important upgrade material in the game. I would not use them on a Descendant. I would use them on a weapon if you get free ones from an event or something. So I would use them on something like a Restored Relic Launcher. I will touch on that after we finish this upgrade area. So once we finish going through all the upgrade stuff, I'll show you what to do with those. But one more thing in this research area, as you can see, like I said, you have to like research each of the pieces, and then you would go in once you have all these and research the whole Descendant, and you know, you can see all this stuff. So let me show you how you would find how to do this yet again. So weapons and Descendants, I'm going to teach you how to use the library for them really quick. But before that, you can accelerate this using paid currency. Never do that. It is a big scam. Don't do that. You never want to spend the real currency on those. It's just let them cook. All right. So I've walked up to Anais. I've said, I want to make a Restored Relic Launcher. I'm going to tell you to do this because this is one of the weapons that I recommend building. So I click on it, and it says I need these 4 components. Now, in most games, this is where you go, I have to hit a wiki. You do not need to hit a wiki. We're going to figure out how to get all of the pieces for this one and track it and get a pity system for this weapon. All from this thing. So the thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to build a Restored Relic Launcher. So we go over to here, we type it in or we find it. Doesn't matter. I'm going to find it because you might be on controller or something. So there it is. You click on it and it brings up this screen. So there's a whole bunch of different materials that you need for this. The most important one, you may not have all these other ones, but these are the things, like I said, that are from boxes out in the fields and from like the munition crates that you can open. And these things, I think, usually come from like a mission. But I'm going to show you how to know exactly how to do that. So this is the actual blueprint pattern. You'll notice when you mouse over any of these, it says acquisition info. If you then, at least on the keyboard and mouse, press F, it will show you exactly where to get it. So in this case, it is saying that it is specifically from normal mode and hard mode, things in the White Knight Gulch. It comes from the resource boxes, the munition boxes, and it apparently also comes from stuff in Action Plains, which I didn't know. So, where is White Knight Gulch? White Knight Gulch is here. So it's telling you exactly, it's going to be those boxes that are laying out in the field in this area. Okay, well, that's one question answered. We know where to get those now. Where do I get this thing? Okay, press F. It says that this comes from an amorphous pattern. So those things that we were opening up in that other section. All right, well, where do I get the amorphous pattern? There's a whole bunch of them. Let me just click on one and it shows me, right? You can ignore this list opening site. This is no longer, well, actually it just tells you, just go to the thing in Albion. It used to be that you had to find the right one. Like I said, that's gone. So this comes from 2 different things. There's a strategic outpost. I would not recommend doing those, but if you click on it, it will show you the exact one on your map. If you go back to here, it also comes from a dungeon. Remember, that's what this icon is. And so it comes from a dungeon in the sterile land on normal mode called the Forgottens. So you click on it, and from here you might be saying, okay, I have to go over there, but that's annoying. There's 2 ways to get from it. As long as you are in Albion, you cannot do this from the field. You can only do this from Albion. I can click on this and immediately queue into it. I don't have to do anything else. And then remember to make sure that you check the pattern. It'll tell you which one it was. So it was saying that I need pattern 6. So I would go into here, click this, find pattern 6. It's going to be this one. So you can see Restored Relic Polymer Synctium Blueprint. 38% chance. I will get one of these every time I finish the mission, and when I open one in Albion, I have a 38% chance to get the Restored Relic Launcher blueprint. Then there's also this just random stuff. There's reactors and guns and modules and stuff that drop. You can also get to that via this terminal. Notice how it lines up, the icons? That's that terminal I showed you earlier. I can't do anything to it right now, but if you walk over to it, it'll show you, and it narrows it down to like all the dungeons and stuff. But as long as you're an Albion, you can insta-queue into anything you see on this screen without having to even walk over to it. It just lets you do it. So, and then the last thing for this piece, I click on this, and it looks like it comes from just some of the random missions in Agna Desert. So yeah, some of the story missions, it just looks like these guys, all this stuff. And then it looks like you can also do it in one of the dungeons if you just wanted to farm it on repeat. I could go and I could do this, and it's going to drop for me. You can see it's over here, positive ion particles. So that is how you use the journal. That is how you would go and farm all of the pieces for the restored relic launcher. Now, if they give you a free box, like I said, I would recommend just picking one because it's going to make everything better. So, same thing. The other thing you can do for this is you might be saying, okay, well, like I need to farm up 73 of these, right? You can set this to track as an item, and you can set multiple things to track in here. So I might want to track all 3 of these things, and then it will show them over here what things you're tracking. And then you can pull it up in your screen, at least on keyboard and mouse, with you. So you can see it showing all those. It's kind of like blurry, I guess. You can see them on the left side. I'm just going to move it in and out so you can see them doing that. But that'll allow you to track them. That tracking that you see, I'm going to take them off for now, is not the same. Those are called target items. That is not the same as this target reward list. This target reward list is a pity system. That is, like I said, not the same as this thing. So, if I wanted to go farm a restored relic launcher, I cannot get RNG'd to death. Let's say that I really needed, I think you can do it with these. Oh, you can't actually set it with these ones, but you can do it with, for instance, this, I believe. Just because this drops as like a whole thing. If you see this option to set a target reward for something, it is a pity system that every time you do the piece of content where it drops and you do not get the item, then the chance that you will get it will increase by some amount. So to explain that a little bit better, you can see that I have something called the Deus Ex Blueprint. This drops from a particular thing. It drops from Void Vessel, if I recall. Where is Anais in here? Here he is. So it's this thing. This drops from Void Vessel, and you can see I've got it selected as my target reward. If I were to do Void Vessel and I don't get this from it, then the percent will go up to like 7% or 14% or something, and once it reaches 100, I will get it guaranteed. So it is a pity system for those things. The drop rates are all honestly pretty high for things, so it's not super necessary to use the system, but know that it exists and please do use it. But a lot of people have gone through the whole game without even knowing that you can do this. If you select more than one thing, so like both of these come from the same Void Vessel mission, it will divide the pity between them. So like if it would normally give you 10% on just one of them, then it will give me 5 to both. So just know that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing yet again with the Descendants. I just want to make sure you understand how to use the library because it is the best thing in the world. So let's say you really wanted to know how to build Bunny. It's the same thing. It shows you the exact stuff that you need. Even from this screen, by the way, in the research, you can click that acquisition info thing. So you can say, okay, where do I get this thing? Okay, well, I've clicked F for acquisition info. I can set it as a target reward if I want to for the pity system. And then it's showing me that it drops from these quests. So I can click on one, and then I cannot queue up to this because this isn't a dungeon, but it's showing me that this is in Kingston. So it's in Kingston normal mode. It's this particular thing. And I can go to right here, though. So I can just immediately teleport to this and then walk over. You can also set this as a waypoint, but only when you're out in the field, and it will like glow on your screen. So that is how you are going to be able to find anything you want to do. So that is how you're going to be able to find Descendants, weapons, whatever. It's incredibly good. It works for fellows, it works for bikes, it works for everything in the game. It is all in there, it's all available. and it will also tell you where to get certain modules if you're looking for a certain module. So let's say you wanted HP amplification, which is a really good module. You can click acquisition info. It shows you all the different places it can drop. So for modules, you cannot set them as a pity though. So you just kind of got to get one, got to get lucky, I guess. I don't know. They drop all the time though, especially from this icon means 400%. It means that the drop rate from it rotates daily. It means the drop rate in that dungeon's 400% higher, and you'll get it in like 2 seconds. So, okay, that is the journal, and that is how you would interface with Anais and get new Descendants and new weapons. There is one more. There's 2 more things I want to touch on really quick. This is a laboratory you can go to. It just allows you to experiment with stuff. I'll go into it briefly just to show you. This is for Ancestor Modules. You may be given a box as part of an event to select one of these, but they're like an end game power system of a randomized module. You'll notice these other ones are just set in stone. This one has random rolls, and it's specific for each character. So you can see this is the one specifically for Serena. I got pretty okay rolls on this one, except for the skill effect range down was bad, but it's still very good, so I have it equipped. It also requires a mastery. You can see this one takes mastery rank 19. You can re-roll them, you can reset them, you can sell them, you can buy them, you can sell them to other players for cash shop currency if you want to, all that sort of stuff. Anything related to these Ancestor mods is done at this table. So you can see I can go in here and dismantle some of them if I want to. I can go over here and I can re-roll them if I want to. Very briefly discussing this. I'll discuss this in the endgame guide more, but don't worry about these. These don't do anything. It doesn't matter which one you click. What it rolls is totally random. This is just a table showing you the roll ranges depending on what it rolled. So this one rolled 3 positives and 1 negative. That means that the critical hit rate on it can go between 28.5 and 107.8. So it shows you here because I have that UI option set, but for people that don't have that UI option set, it's just, you'd have to look in this table. But it's totally random what you get. Doesn't matter what you click over here. It's just a table. All right. Not going to dwell on that one too much. This is the richest man in Albion. This is the dude that you will be talking to a lot for modules. Anything related to modules. There are things called trigger mods. These drop in action planes and stuff introduced after the action planes. They scrap for a lot. They're randomly rolled modules of a particular type. Don't need to worry about them yet. I'll discuss it in the endgame guide. So there's 3 things that you can do with the modules. You can enhance them, you can dismantle them, or you can combine them. Very easy to think about. So if you're going to combine them, you can only hold 2,500 of these is why it would be, necessary. You can see that down here. So I'm at 23. I'm probably actually gonna have to do that soon. 2,300 out of 2,500.
If all modules were the
Click
same,
combine.
I'd be out of a job, right?
You can say only show me the duplicates and then select all. I'm intentionally clicking these buttons down here, but there are shortcuts for it. So if I were to do that, it would combine what looks to be about 1,000 of these into 260 new modules. Those ones that you can get from it are totally random. You can get things that are not from a content type you've ever even done. You can get anything from it. It is a good way to acquire new modules because remember, you do not need a module per character. You just need the module one time and you can use it on every character as much as you want. So it is a good way to acquire new ones if you want to do that. If you just need Kuiper, you would go in here. It's the same thing. You don't have to click these individually. You would click this down at the bottom, select duplicates, and it will not get rid of anything that you already have a copy or that you only have 1 copy of. But it does consider the upgrade level. So if you have rifling reinforcement at 11 and at 16, it will still keep the 11. Unfortunately, I need to clean up some of these old ones manually. I haven't done that, but otherwise it will just select the ones that you have multiple for. So you can see I have 2 overwhelms. So it's selecting the overwhelms. Actually, those are different ammo types. That doesn't count. Regardless, it's only selecting things I have duplicates of. So, and it will give me back 1,600 Kuiper. What is Kuiper? Kuiper is used to enhance modules. These are the things that go on your character. I showed you these earlier, that they were dropping for you. You would talk to this guy to enhance them. As you enhance them, they will get better and better, but cost more and more to enhance. So if you go over to here, you can see that to go from rifling reinforcement level 9 to 10, I am getting a 1.6% increase, and it costs 2,000 Kuiper, 20,000 gold. To go from 12 or 11 to 12, I am getting a 2.2% increase, so more than this one, which was 1.6, but it also costs more than double. So as they go up in level, they get bigger and bigger rewards. They cost more and more. That's up for you to decide how much you want to invest in each one of these things. But what I do want to cover one last time before we leave. Okay, I've gone over everything here. There's only the one last thing that I want to talk about. I'm going to recommend a couple of modules, because basically while you're leveling, you're going to get like a weapon, and it might look like, do I have one here I can show? Yeah, so like clairvoyance for me, right? So the module capacity is at 50. So you might have noticed on my character and on some of my weapons I had 80 or higher. You click this module additional settings button. You can select max capacity up, and you will use one of these upgrade items, which I've taught you how to acquire all the stuff on. You would go into your journal. It is an enhancement material, as you can see. It says it under, energy activator. So you would go into the enhancement material section to figure out where to get all the stuff to make one of these. If you use this, it will increase the capacity and use up the item. I would not, as a new player, you're going to be limited by these and the crystallization catalysts. I would not spend them willy-nilly. The thing that I have recommended you use them on is the Restored Relic Launcher or the Thunder Cage, and that's what I'm going to stand by for now. Otherwise, I would not be spending them too much. Eventually, you'll be swimming in them, as you can see, but that will increase the module capacity. As for the modules that you actually choose to invest in, because you'll notice that you're getting 50 for free, so you will have some room to play with, even if you've invested nothing in it. I'm going to show you a few things that are worth investing your money and your Kuiper into, so that way it's not burning a hole in your pocket and you can feel comfortable about spending it and getting some sort of upgrade. As you level up through the campaign, you will get things that add elements to your weapon. So I would not worry about investing in upgrading these, because they will give you more of them for free. So you would just be wasting your money and resources to some degree. So you can see at some point they gave me a level 13 one and a level 11 one. That means that, if I were to have upgraded it to 13 on my own, I would have just wasted that money, because they gave me a level 13 one. The modules that are used on every single gun in the game, pretty much exclusively, you can write these 3 down, and they will conveniently fill up most of the module slot here, is fire rate. Remember, it's per ammo type, by the way, so make sure you're doing the right ammo types when you go to upgrade them. If you put them onto the weapon, then that dude in the shop will, the upgrader guy, will have like a shortcut to show you which ones are equipped already, so it makes it easier. But it is, fire rate, it is rifling reinforcement, and it is action and reaction, if I can find it. Do I have it? Yes. So you'll notice that this pretty much filled up all of my module capacity, unless I were to go do this, and I'm not going to go do that. But if you're looking for something, I do not believe that they might give you rifling reinforcement for free. I can't remember. Basically, if you see in the campaign that they're giving you those for free as a reward, you'll get them when you talk to the guy that has you do the Colossi battle, the Void Intercept battles. He'll give you some free ones periodically. If you see that he's giving you some of the free ones, then don't worry about upgrading them on your own, because you're just wasting materials. But these are the 3 most important ones in the game. They're used almost in every single build by every single weapon. So if you ever want to invest in one, go ahead and do this. The next best ones to invest in are going to be any of the priorities. So these are elemental priorities that buff your priority damage. So attribute attack is what's called. Poison priority, fire priority, chill, whatever you want to do. And then they give you some of the enhancements for free, but the enhancements are also widely used across a variety of builds. But I would focus on these 3 first, and then I would do any of the other ones if you've got like extra stuff you want to do. I just wanted to give you recommendations because there's no reason not to use the free capacity that they give you, so you may as well have something to put it into. So these three are very good. So if you ever want to upgrade them, go for it. For your Descendant, I'm going to give you the same recommendations. Okay, let me switch over to a different build. The things that are worth upgrading and used in almost every single character build. I'm going to switch over to a character I haven't upgraded because it's the same thing. Is the same between the weapons and the Descendants. So as you can see, there's this max capacity thing. It takes the same resource. The thing that is good on pretty much every single Descendant, because I'm going to have 50 capacity to use, and you will never regret doing it on these. I'm going to type in cooldown, nimble fingers. Oh, whoops, I'm dumb. I tried to put in the submodule slot. Sorry. Ignore that I'm doing this. This is just to increase my capacity. So remember, you can equip this and increase the capacity up to 60. It's just for Descendants. So nimble fingers, and then you can. This is a free text search, by the way. You can search for anything. MP conversion. These are used in almost every single build. Now you can see I still have some capacity left, so I'm going to give you some more recommendations. Do not do increased HP or increased defense, because I believe they give them to you for free, so you would be wasting your money. However, HP amplification is also a very good choice. It is not widely used, but it is still not a bad choice. Like I said, defense is usually the first thing people get rid of, so. But I'm just, while you are leveling and learning the game, it will not be a bad investment. But anything related to critical is usually pretty good, and I'm going to give you the common critical mods. So that would be skill concentration, skill insight, and then I have to get rid of these two. Let me go over to, here, I'm going to go over to a character I actually have leveled so that I can show you the full loadout of stuff. You'll notice that there's a whole bunch of these things on the character. I'll go into that one last time. That'll be the last thing before it concludes the leveling part of the game. Cooldown. So MP conversion, nimble fingers, skill concentration, skill insight. Who is calling me? I don't know, man. Sorry. I was getting a phone call there. Emergency measures, and then front lines. These are basically used across every single character in the game, except for like one or two, maybe, barring some specific stuff. So they're very good investment to have. Another one that is very good, it's actually probably even better than these. So you'll notice I saw some capacity here. You will not be able to because yours are going to be full price, but I'll explain that in a second. So let me take these out and actually give you better recommendations then. So skill expansion is really good too. These together would be taking up most of your cost. Actually, I'll just give you the stuff that's you're going to want on like every character eventually. So yeah, I am going to put these back in here. These, I believe, are the most common and most generic ones that you're going to want. They will work across every character and every type. There are still things that you'll notice. There are these focus mods. So there's ones for electric, toxic, non-attribute, and then the different subtypes, so tech, dimension, fusion. Those will be basically specific per character. That's why I'm not recommending them right away. They do give you a very good amount of power, but they're only going to be useful on one Descendant, so they may not be quite as worth it as some of the others. So, I mean, you may want to do, like if you're working on Bunny, you may want to do this just because it is a substantial power increase for her. It gives you a lot of cooldown, a lot of base power. But it will not translate over like this electric if you then went to play Serena, who's a fire character. It's not going to do anything for you, right? So just letting you know. But these are some of the ones that will appear generically across all the characters. Particularly these three are used in almost every single build. So, just letting you know. Okay. The last thing, now that I've given you a recommendation for certain modules, so that way you don't feel like you're wasting resources, and I've given you weapons that I recommend you put resources into that you won't feel bad about. I believe I've given you everything that you need to know to make good decisions. This is the last thing that I want to cover, which is the Descendants. There are ultimate and there are regular Descendants. And the reason that I'm not recommending that you invest your resources like your energy activators or your donuts, which are these things, is because the whatever you do to a normal Descendant does not translate into the ultimate Descendant. Unless you have a special item. Sorry, Serena's talking. Unless you have a special item, that item cannot be purchased from the cash shop. It cannot be farmed, it cannot be obtained in any way. It is an event item that will allow you to transfer all of the progress from a regular Descendant to the ultimate. So until you get an ultimate Descendant, you may not wish to use some of your new player limited resources like your crystallization catalysts and like your energy activators on a regular Descendant. I'm just letting you know, but I'm not going to tell you not to do it. That's totally up to you if you want to. But that is the last thing that I wanted to cover, which is this part. Once your character has reached level 40, you have the option to prestige that character. Oh my gosh, I did not realize that I took an entire hour in this section. Once you're level 40, it will give you the option to assign one of these socket types that I discussed to one of these using a crystallization catalyst. You can do this until every socket has every type. I don't recommend doing it unless it is an ultimate Descendant, like I said, because you will simply just want to use the ultimates. Also, now that you have learned that, you might be saying, wow, I've been playing this game all day and I'm level 18. You have to go and do that 29 times or whatever it is. Once you have reached hard mode, it takes about 10 to 12 minutes to go from level 1 to level 40. So do not be scared by that. So to do all of these, it's like, you know, to do 10 of them, I guess I should say, it's like not even an hour of work pretty much usually. Maybe an hour, I don't know. But it's not bad to go back through and prestige your character that many times. All right, that concludes the entire leveling section of the guide. I will then go into, if you do want to invest in a character, by the way, you know, as a new player, it's going to be a little bit tough to get some of the ultimate Descendants, but there are some that are pretty easy to get. Sorry, I'm just trying to get over to this thing. I think, for instance, Ultimate Bunny is very easy to acquire. So there may be, you may want to look into it. Like I said, I'm just letting you know. You can decide what you want to do. A couple of these are going to be easy to get. A couple of them are not going to be easy to get. I would not recommend investing in any of the regular ones just because you cannot get. Let me tell you what the item is. It's called a photon imprinter, but you cannot get this. It's just, you can see there's no information. I have 4 of them. They're given out whenever they release a new Ultimate Descendant. And so whenever basically they release, that's why people actually have invested in normal Descendants. So if you look at my Anais, I have 21 catalysts in her and I've raised her capacity. Same thing with Serena, I've got 25 invested in her. When they release Ultimate Anais and Ultimate Serena, they will give you one of these and you can use that to transfer your normal character's progress over to the Ultimate. The problem, and that they didn't consider, is that there's new players in the game that want to immediately start investing in a character. And because you don't have these, you sort of don't really want to do that until you get the ultimate version of the character. So what you could do, if you want to, is still, for instance, invest in Ultimate Bunny or Ultimate Viessa or whatever. I probably wouldn't do it on one of those because they should be one of the easier ones to acquire the ultimate versions of. But you could, if you wanted to, and then just resolve that you will wait until the next time that they give one of these out and use it to transfer your progress from that character to their ultimate version. Because obviously you're not going to need it for like the new ultimate unless you had already upgraded them, I guess. So the next ultimate as of the time this guy is going to be Haley. So if you got Haley, normal version Haley, you could invest in her, upgrade her the whole way, and then when ultimate Haley comes out, they will give you one of these, and you could take your normal Haley to move all of the progress over to the ultimate Haley. So just letting you know all the information. I will let you decide what you want to do with that information. I simply would not recommend investing in the regular Descendants. I would only invest in their ultimate version, and I would just check to see which ones are easy to get based off of just use this thing. So I don't remember which ones are, but I think this is actually chronological in the story. So I believe the first character that you can get is Bunny in the story, and the next one's Glay, and the next one's Freyna, Sharon, Blair, whatever it is. So I believe it is also the same for the ultimates up here. I believe that these are the easiest ones to get, and then the harder ones to get are up here, because this guy was just released. She was right before him, he was right before her, so they're all in chronological release order. So I believe that it will basically be these are the easiest ones to get, and then these are the easiest ones to get here. So use that information to decide how you want to manage your time and who you want to invest in and when you want to do it and all that sort of stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, at this point, you should understand how to get through the core of the campaign, basically until you get to hard mode. Once you have unlocked hard mode, they'll let you know when you have, but once you have, you're basically in the end game. There's still going to be more story to do, but you can start working on things like daily activities and things like that to start acquiring more power for your character to do harder and harder content. So that's sort of where the end game begins, is once you've unlocked hard mode, but there is still going to be story left to do and things left to do. I just wanted you to know that that's basically like where the end game starts, is when you get hard mode. That will be uploaded as a second guide because this one's almost 2 hours long already. And I don't want to upload like a 3-hour video, but it will basically, it should be much shorter. It will just go over basically the things that you should be looking out for to do like daily if you can, or weekly, or like whatever the lockout for that is, and things like mastery rank, how to get it, what's gated behind certain things, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to upload that as a second video, but until you have unlocked hard mode, you don't need to go watch that video. If somebody actually watched this whole video the whole way through, you are an incredible person. But if no one did, that's fine too. If anybody got any use out of it, that's all I'm looking for. So have a wonderful day, and that is the end of the video.